I'm Penny Dick's Astro Coach, and welcome to my in-depth look at the forthcoming new moon in Scorpio, which is on the 4th of November. But just before I launch into how you can best use the energy for setting intentions, I just want to say, for those of you that have recently subscribed to my YouTube channel, thank you so much. If you haven't, I would love it if you would. And also, just to deal with the rest of the business, if you would like to have a one-to-one with me for astro coaching or for life coaching, my website is in the description box. Now, let's have a look at what this new moon in Scorpio on 4th of November is going to bring us. Well, first of all, when I started actually thinking about this new moon, the first thought that came to me was, don't believe everything you think. That's quite interesting because, first of all, this new moon comes after what was a particularly tricky full moon in Aries. And interestingly, this new moon in Scorpio is preparing us for next year's change of signs for the nodes. Now, the nodes are the nodes of the moon, and they're a point in space where the sun and the earth and the moon cross paths. But I go into this in more detail in my overview for 2022, which will be available on my YouTube channel in the next day or so. So I'm not going to go into that too much, but the important thing with the nodes is that they're moving into the signs of Taurus and Scorpio. So this Scorpio new moon really is giving us an introduction to the energies that we can expect for next year. And also, when I come to do your zodiac signs towards the end of this video, that will give you a clue as to where the main focus of energy is going to be for you next year. Okay, so what does this Scorpio energy emphasize for us? You know, to help us set our new moon intentions. Scorpio, of course, is a fixed water sign, ruled by Pluto, which is our planet of endings, beginnings, death, rebirth, and transformation. And the older ruler of Scorpio is the planet Mars, which of course is our god of energy, action, assertiveness, sexuality. Scorpio is very much a sign, I think, about sexuality and these deep feelings that we have within. And I do feel with this Scorpio energy, the fact that it's a new moon is going to highlight the hidden depths of feelings that we have inside, that we keep inside, that we, in a sense, tend to keep quite private to ourselves, quite secret. Scorpio is a private sign. And, you know, with new moons, with full moons, we tend to look for or listen out for external events that will affect our lives. Well, it's not always about what's going on the outside. We forget that. And I think the Scorpio new moon highlights the fact that actually we need to pay attention to our inner self, that actually that inner part of us, that inner soul, psyche, that part of us that yearns to be understood is and can be given new life, given new birth through these lunar events. So maybe an intent to face our own inner truths and our shadow side would be an excellent use of this energy. It's really interesting, this new moon, because in Taurus, which is our sign of, it's also fixed, it's an earth sign, but it's also about financial things, money, the planet, everything that grows, green stuff. But it's also about value. So Uranus, that is currently in Taurus, in a retrograde motion at the moment, is in a virtual exact opposition, just by a few sort of like milliseconds to this new moon. So this Uranus energy, which is about surprise, the unexpected, it can be shocks, it can be waking up to the reality of something that may be key in our lives or in ourselves. And I just feel that because the new moon energy is in a direct opposition to this Uranus energy, it is very much actually asking us to wake up to how do you value yourself? How do you see others in relation to you? Do you feel valued? Do you feel seen, heard? That's something of this energy. Maybe you doubt that others see your value. And, you know, as I say in the sort of the title for this, don't believe everything you think. Maybe this new moon will bring a Uranus awakening, a kind of a shock of some description that needs to happen to wake you up, to wake us up, to how much we are valued by others, and can then in turn really resonate and feel that self-worth, that value. You know, we're all part of a huge collective. We're all linked. And sometimes we get disconnected and feel a bit lost. And I think in general, something kind of needs to emerge that reconnects us all. If we just briefly look at also what this can mean on a greater scale, on, say, the world stage, Uranus can bring shocking truths to light. And we might, in those first 2 weeks of November, see some shocking truths appearing in the news. And I think it will be about misuse of the internet and the damage that it can cause. And that could certainly hit the headlines with the energy of this Scorpio new moon. What's interesting is that there is a young woman who is currently talking about social media to Westminster in the United Kingdom and about the difficulties that can arise. I'm being selective with my words, but it could be interesting to see how that unfolds. Also, I just wanted to add this, that because Uranus is about explosive behavior, it just made me kind of laugh to myself, because I thought, well, the new moon is actually the day before November the 5th. And in the United Kingdom, November the 5th is Guy Fawkes Day, when Guy Fawkes decided to blow up the Houses of Parliament. He did, however, fail, but I just wondered whether something would erupt with this Uranus energy in the news that would almost be like a kind of bomb being let off in the Houses of Parliament. But what other energy have we got going on with this? Because we've got retrograde Neptune in Pisces. Now, Neptune, of course, is this wonderful energy, which is where we can really connect with our intuition, where we can really actually see and sense, and that sort of ability to tune into elements of energies and vibrations that we can't always get hold of. And it's making a very helpful aspect to this new moon. And I think this suggests that there is potential that can be born out of this new moon, that we see through the smoke screens of what is being kept hidden. I think because Taurus is involved, because of Uranus being in opposition to Scorpio, to the new moon, then banking can hit the headlines. Shared resources, because Scorpio and the new moon is in the position of the chart that can represent shared resources. It can represent the banking system. And it may be that we see, something becomes exposed of maybe behavior within the banking system that has not been squeaky clean. Now, as I mentioned earlier about Mars being the traditional ruler of Scorpio, Mars is newly arrived in Scorpio. And Mars in this new moon configuration is in what's known as an out-of-sign conjunction with Mercury, our planet of communication. And Mercury is in the late degrees of Libra, which is our sign of balance and harmony. And of course, Mercury is newly out of retrograde, and actually in the energy of this new moon moves into, on this time round, the sun for it, Virgin territory, because since it went direct in the middle of October, it's been in what we call its shadow. So you may still, over the last couple of weeks, have experienced slowdowns, problems with internet, just problems in general with communicating. So that's something that can be around. And I think this Mercury conjunct Mars implies fighting talk as sludge from the muddy pond of finance may get exposed. We also have to remember, and I think I talked about this in the full moon in Aries, because Mercury is also still in a very challenging angle to Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto rules Scorpio along with Mars, and Pluto is our planet of beginnings, endings, and transformation in very simplistic terms. If you know about the tarot, I would actually see Pluto in some ways representing the Tower of Destruction. But Pluto in Capricorn is still, and has been for some time, and will continue to be, in a hard square to Eris in Aries. And I talked about Eris a lot last time, our goddess of strife and discord. And this can see energy building up in the collective that wants to break out. So with Mercury, I think it, as part of this mix, it feels to me that it's begging those in power to keep a cool head of reason, to avoid serious breakdowns in communication. So let's just bring this back before I do your individual zodiac signs and see where it's affecting you on this one. But on a personal level, how can you reinvent yourself? How can you shed a skin that prevents you connecting to others in a meaningful way. If we don't reach out to others, how can they know that our shadow side feels locked in the scorpionic depths of this new moon? The new moon by its very nature is about giving birth to new things, setting our intentions. And in this instance, I think it's about giving birth to a better and more aware you. Maybe you need to be the Uranus within to shock yourself awake and remind yourself about your connection to the collective, to each other, and that for that change to come on an inner level. The interesting thing is that it's just the awareness and the acknowledgement in ourselves that, to go back to where I came in, that you are valued and that you value yourself. That, just that very awareness, just the acknowledgement, just the looking at that, can enable that shift within. And if you shift within, it triggers out a ripple through the collective. So don't believe everything you think, but do trust and have faith in the transformative energies of this new moon in Scorpio. So now I'm going to move on to where this new moon falls in each of your zodiac signs. And remember, apart from listening to your sun sign, if you know your ascendant, which is your rising sign, listen to that too, because in many ways that's more appropriate, because it actually gives you the actual area of your life that the energies are really focused on with this new moon. Let's start with Aries. Okay, Aries, well, and Aries, bearing in mind this is also going to be the influence for a lot of next year for you, and that goes for all the signs. So the new moon is in Scorpio, and it's in the part of your chart that is specifically to do with other people's resources. It's to do with value, bringing in that energy of Taurus. It's how do people value you in terms of, do they give enough to you that makes you feel valued? Or is it one-way traffic? On a very mundane level, it could be about if you've been waiting for maybe a bill to be paid or money that's owed to you to come, then this new moon energy could see some of that materializing. Taurus. Okay, let's see how our bulls are today. Well, Taurus, this is quite an interesting new moon in Scorpio in the part of your chart that is connected with significant close personal relationships. And with Uranus opposite, of course, in your house, in Taurus, I think new opportunities come in an unexpected way with a significant relationship. Perhaps something that you thought was dead and buried has a chance to be resurrected. Gemini. For you, Gemini, this new moon is in the part of your chart that is very much to do with your day-to-day routine and how you look after yourself on a kind of, how do you serve yourself, Gemini? How do you take care of you, of your health, of your well-being? Because that Uranus in the part of your chart that is specifically to do with the inner you tells me that you really do need to wake up to different ways of managing your psychological well-being. And that if you can do that, it will make everyday life so much easier. Okay, Cancer. It's in the area of your chart that is very much connected with creativity, fun, romance. And you know, this new moon could bring a new romance. It could bring, if that's what you're looking for, but certainly new creative opportunities. And it could come in a rather unexpected form. Or you may have an idea that just hits you and you just think, oh wow, why didn't I see before that that's where I can go with this creative idea I've got. Leo. The new moon for you in Scorpio is in the part of your chart that is connected with your home and family. And of course, it's opposite Uranus in Taurus in the part of your chart connected with your career or your soul purpose or your passion if you're not working. And what this tells me is that you are getting unexpected support in your endeavours from those at home. Now, sometimes with family, it's not just our blood relatives, but it can be our close friends, our close kind of soul family. But I do feel you'll be getting some support in the ideas that you've got that you want to put in place. Virgo. This new moon for you is all about how you communicate and how you find a way to communicate what's in that deep part of yourself, that inner you, that doesn't upset too many people. And this might be, it feels like there's people that feel distant from you. That's not necessarily in miles, but just that you haven't felt that you could fully connect with them. They may literally be physically distant, but I do feel with this new moon, it's giving you an opportunity to communicate in a way that gets heard. Libra. So, new ideas need to be implemented by you about how you handle your finance and your budgeting over the next kind of month. There may be some unexpected bonuses that could come, which are a bit of a surprise, but it will enable you to feel that you can just actually let the reins go a bit, so that you can just not hold on so fiercely thinking, I can't spend that because... So I just think it's going to free things up for you, Scorpio. Libra. Right, Scorpio. Now we're on to you, Scorpio, because the new moon, of course, is in your house of Scorpio. And with Uranus in the house opposite, which is Taurus, which is about significant relationships, what are you coming up with that's really going to, well, kind of shock someone awake? You'll have to make of that what you will, Scorpio, but I do feel that you will be instigating something that will really surprise your nearest and dearest. Sagittarius. So for you, this new moon is very much about the inner you, and this is where next year's energy is going to be focused as well. I think sometimes people don't recognize how much you do actually go within. And, you know, you have hidden depths that people tend to see you as an out there person, and they tend to miss the fact that there's a very private Sagittarius in there that thinks very deeply about things. And I think there may be disruptions to your kind of routine that will have you having to really think on your feet as to where you go next. Capricorn, this is about something you feel very passionate about in terms of something you would like to manifest. So this really is a chance to, it almost feels like, Capricorn, you really do need to wish upon a star with this particular new moon. And think outside the box, think creatively. What do you really want to bring into your life? Because I think this new moon energy can help dig up some very deep, kind of powerful feelings inside you that could attract to you what you need most. Aquarius. So Aquarius, this is very much for you about starting, some of you may be starting a new job. Some of you may be making changes within your career or taking a rather different career direction. But it feels, Aquarius, as if it's something that is very much needed. It feels as if you need the stimulation of different input to keep you focused on the things that you are passionate about. It's like you need new input, fresh input. So look for that, and it may be that it's a family member that can actually help you find what it is that you need to awaken your desires and your passions again. And lastly, we come to Pisces. I love doing that. My fishes. And Pisces. So Pisces, it seems you're thinking about moving further afield, or at least bringing more journeys and travel into your life. And I think what you want, Pisces, is journeys not just of the physical, but of the mind that stimulate you. I feel that you very much need to, swim out there, away from your current environment. That it's important to you to get the stimulation of others, of people that are new, people that are fresh, that you felt perhaps, Pisces, as if you've been a bit of a fish stuck in a stagnant pond. And either a dam will break, so fresh water and fresh fish will swim in, but you can use this energy to set that intention, to think, right, from now on, like for next year, things are going to be different. I'm going to swim in a different way with my life. Okay, so thank you so much for coming to join me for this new moon in Scorpio, which is on the 4th of November. That's in about a week's time. If you've missed this, it'll be available on my Facebook page if you want to have it on catch up. Also, it will be available on YouTube tomorrow or the next day. And I'd like to say thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.